Welcome to the Honest Health Podcast with your host, Jeffrey Burke. Honest Health brings you the brightest minds in the natural products industry, as well as athletes and entertainers. Jeff will keep you entertained and informed while educating on how to be successful on your healthy journeys. Now, here's your host, Jeffrey Burke.
Hello and welcome back to the Honest Health Podcast. My name is Jeffrey Burke, and I am so glad you're here. As you know, my long line and list of amazing guests continue. If you follow me on any of my other social medias, you know I try to let you know ahead of time who's coming in, but I don't give it all away to you. I make you tune in and see. As you know, my selection has become very, very select. I'm very picky about who I talk with. I keep it within the industry, but I also am reaching outside the industry as well. Athletes, entertainers, people in the know, and just that I think the people that have a message that they want to share, because today it does not matter where the last piece of that puzzle comes from. It does not matter where that tip and that information that changes your life comes from. It just needs to come. So we want to make sure that it's coming from somewhere, from somebody incredible, and I guarantee you it'll be from somebody that is a guest on my show. Johnsie Mays is with me today, longtime industry insider, and we're going to have some fun talking today. Johnsie and I have been friends for a long time. I have a wonderful amount of respect for him, what he's done in the industry, and we're just going to kind of shoot it back and forth today and just talk about what's going on, you know, what's changing, what's new, what's old, what's coming, what's good, what's bad, and we'll just kind of make it fun and engaging for you. Hey, Johnsie.
I'm so thankful to be here. I feel like I've seen your all your videos from this podcast, and I'm like, wow, I have no business being on this podcast. You guys are too intelligent for me. So I'm going to do my best to fake it, and then we'll see what comes out in the wash, you know?
Well, you know, our industry has changed a lot, you know, and it's not the same industry it was when I started 47 years ago. And it's completely different. We have a lot more things at our fingertips, like different kinds of delivery systems and more technology and more science. And yet we're still a very young industry because we still have a lot more to learn. If you had to pick one thing that has changed, that is the most instrumental, visible change for you since you started in the industry, what would that be?
Okay, so this is a super easy answer for me, and I would say that it's accessibility, right? It's 100 accessibility. You know, I started, I think, in like 2012 or 2013 in the industry, and I was in distribution, right? So I was kind of like hawking, selling all of the stuff to everyone, to all the stores. And I think when I did jump into working for individual brands, I found a lot of joy in education, which is kind of right up your alley, right, Doc? So I think what it is, the biggest difference is like the accessibility, not only for retailers, right? And not only for people like you and me, but really for the end consumer, right? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say I agree already wholeheartedly. And I think that, you know, people are in search of more information today. So that's along the same lines.
It's wild how accessible our industry is now. You know, I'm just going to use this for an example, but I'm going to be honest with you, Jeff. Like, I was not sold on regenerative farming. I was not sold on it. I was like, oh, here we go. Another fancy buzzword for this, you know. I was like, oh, organic's not good enough now. Now we got to put a big word on it. So, but that's where I found out how accessible this industry is. You know, I learned about regenerative farming and really the difference of what it is through social media, through people like you and Kokora and some other brands, you know. And I remember being in the midst of that and learning about it and being sold. Right. And I'm in the industry. Right. So like for me to be in it, it's so easy for us to get excited. Right. It's so easy for us to be like, yeah, this new cool thing we're in. Right. Because I mean, we're both salespeople too. I mean, personally, I think everybody's a salesperson. Right. If you're with somebody as a significant other, you've obviously sold yourself in some way to them. Right. So, I mean, it's so easy for salespeople to get excited. So that's what I originally thought with regenerative farming. This is just a sales pitch. But in the midst of it all, you know, my naysaying actually brought me to the accessibility of this industry and just made me so excited to learn even more, and I have. So
I think what's been interesting is, I've learned so much over the years. If you had asked me 20 years ago, would I ever recommend a probiotic that was not in a refrigerator? I would have laughed and said, no. And would I ever have sold or even recommended a probiotic that was sitting on a shelf out of the refrigerator? I would have said no. But here we are. Technology has changed, and we can now get shelf-stable probiotics. I never
Yeah.
would have thought that was something we could do. And I mean, we've got liposomals now, we've got capsules, we've got tablets, we've got tinctures and teas, we've got amazing delivery systems. When I first started, there was no such thing as a blend. If you wanted something for your joints, you had to take everything separately. And way back then,
Okay.
we only had things like dolomite and yucca and alfalfa. I mean, there was nothing. And today you can walk in and say, I would like a formula for the joints. And they're there for the eyes, for the skin, for whatever. So I love that part of the industry because I think we've been able to supply the consumers with a more readily available formula that actually takes care of the questions that they have and gives them a better chance of success.
Yeah, I think it's great because I think, the secret, we don't talk about it, right? And maybe, I don't know, you might have to edit this next part out. We'll see. I just throw stuff out there, never know what's going to come out of my mouth. Anyways, so, I think the secret that we all have inside of us, we all kind of know this in the industry, but we're trying to fight against current culture, if you will, right? If you saw what I'm stepping in, the fact that like you were talking about these three ingredients that you can get for dealing with the inflammation or joint problems, right? Now we have like a whole 8-foot section, 10 different shelf space on it, right? So if the goal is to like, hey, listen, yes, there's a time and a place to go that route, right? Go to the the back of Walgreens where you got to hand them a piece of paper to get something, right? But if our goal is to like help support them beforehand, that maybe they might not even have to get there, how awesome is it that you've got this opportunity of 10 shelves, 8 foot wide, right? But at the same time, it could be overwhelming, right?
I think that
Yeah,
comes down to that's the education aspect of this. People being properly trained, having the
right,
information to answer the frustrating questions. And do I feel, to your point as well, I agree that medications are applicable and necessary? Of course they are. They can be
right.
life saving. Does it mean it's your only route? No. And depending on where you are in the world, there's many places in the world where the pharmaceutical counter is the last stop. It's the caboose on the train. It's not the cars at the beginning. Those are all natural and lifestyle changes and
hmm
diet and sleep and exercising and drinking water and flexibility and attitude and all that stuff. And that last car is like medications and pharmaceutical drugs. Is it still applicable? Yeah, that's why it's attached to the train, but it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be the engine.
I love that. Great analogy attached to the train. Sometimes it's the caboose, right? That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I like that. That's real good. I think, what, man, you've been doing this for a while. What would you think is like in the last 20 years? Don't name the brand, but what do you think is like top three coolest supplements that have come out that you feel like have really changed your life?
Well, even though I've been studying it for a long time, I would say omega 3s. I think they've come, when I first started, they were on the bottom shelf and we weren't even allowed to talk
Right.
about them. Number two, vitamin D.
Yeah.
Also sitting on the bottom shelf 40 years ago. They told us not to talk about that either. And I think the other one, because of the high amount of inflammatory problems out there and looking for overall inflammatory support, I would say turmeric. And, turmeric may be new to some of us, but it's been used for 900 years in Asia. So obviously they've been understanding it for a long time. But those are three huge areas that have really made, major strides. And underneath that, of course, digestion and probiotics and, and just overall nutrients and stuff like that. But I think those three, I've probably done more shows on those three from
Yeah.
more different companies. And as I've done them, as the technology has advanced, the way that we talk about them has changed too.
That's interesting. Out of the last 20 years, you're honestly still talking about things that are 40 years ago. What's so interesting that's what you say. Like even these combination formulas, you're not like, hey man, these combination formulas are insanity. You know, I mean, I would say, ever since I've been in it, these sleep formulas are fantastic that are out
Hmm.
there on the shelves. I mean, seriously, if you're having trouble sleeping, there are so many natural, healthy supplements that can do the trick. It's wild, right? Because like, how many times you go into a popular, nationwide chain and you can say, hey, I'm having trouble sleeping, and hopefully they've had people like you come in and educate them. Okay, so let me ask you: are you having trouble falling asleep? Are you having trouble staying asleep? Or do we have racing thoughts? Or are you just wired? And I love the fact that like that really helps them narrow it down. And then you find the sleep formula, and then all of a sudden you find that one little piece you were missing, and then boom, you've got this picture. You're sleeping well. You're waking up for your family better. You're more present, right? You're more present at work, more present for the family. I mean, sleep formulas for me, hands down, have been one of my favorite things since I've been in this industry. Other than that, like the mood products, like you and I both work for a company. We kind of crossed paths, I think. I can't remember if you started after me or right when I was finishing there. But I mean that they have a great like mental clarity, like for your brain and whatnot with that. I mean, I love those kind of supplements that have come out as well. And then I think you nailed it on the head. There's a lot of joint supplements out there these days that like can. I mean, if you ask me, and who am I? I'm nobody important. But if you ask me, they challenge some of the stuff that's over the counter. If you ask me, so. Yeah.
Well, three of the biggest categories I think that are out there that have really started to, heavily accelerate are to your point, the sleep category, because sleep is so much more. People are learning how important it actually is. Number two, the mental health category. And the mental health category is the things like, that help to support things like, help for depression and anxiety and stress and mood and all of that. And the other one is the cognitive category, because so many people today are having problems with concentration. And the thing is, those three categories overlap. If you're not getting the sleep, you can't concentrate. Yeah.
You're right. It's this hustle culture that we're in, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let me get a side hustle. Let me get another side hustle. People are having a full-time job and they're Ubering, or they're having a full-time job and then they DJ on the side. And it's like we are frying ourselves out, and then we're trying to supplement for that. And it's great. Don't get me wrong that these supplements are available, but I think like that's the root of things. I don't know if we were intending on going this direction or whatnot, but I definitely think the root. I think while we're here in the supplement industry, right, we're really about health, you and me. And I think what it comes down to with health is that like we are just in this culture where we are being told like go 100 miles an hour as fast as you can, when in reality you just need to go to sleep. You just need to rest. You just need a cup of tea, a good book, and a nice fire, unless you're in Las Vegas and it's 90 degrees, and a nice air conditioning unit, right? Maybe not a cup of tea, maybe a cup of iced tea, But you know what I'm catching at, right? We've got these supplements and we love our industry and what we're doing, but the reality is maybe we just need to take a break.
Well, there's so many times that I'll do a lecture, and there'll be a huge amount of people there, and somebody will come up to me after and they're like, I never knew that I had an alternative to my drugs, or I never knew that I had another choice. I thought it was only a pharmaceutical. And I just said, well, you have to work with your medical practitioner, and you have to be honest and let them know the direction you want to go. There are times when there are no other choices but a pharmaceutical drug. I get it. Thank God they're there. But there are many times when the pharmaceutical drug could be the last stop. And I said, that's important as well. Because I've had people that have been taking medication for a long time and they finally got tired of it and they decided to go see a holistic practitioner, and they sent them in, and I happened to be there and I gave them some recommendations. And then I heard from them like 2 months later and they're like, I have not felt this good in 10 years. I can't believe it. All the things that the doctor said I had to deal with because of the drug to be able to do its job, I was tired of dealing with all the things I had to deal with. And now the problem has corrected itself. I'm headed in the right direction. I've dropped like 15 pounds and I'm active again and I feel incredible. Why did nobody tell me this? And I said, you can't also on your side take responsibility. You can't just sit back and wait for somebody to tell you. There's so much information at your fingertips today. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of homework on our own to open those doors. Because if you're sitting at home, waiting for somebody just to knock on your door and say, hey, I've got something for you, ain't going to happen. You've got to do some work. And the people that have had the most success will tell you, I just decided to take control. And they did. Mm-hmm.
Take control. And
Well, let me ask you a question. You're a family man, you're busy, you're
Mhm.
active. Is it harder to do it all today than it was maybe 20 years ago? I think it is.
Well, yeah, 100%. I think, you know, it's tough because we're living in this culture where, like I said, we're told to go, we're told to get it all, to have everything, and then also part of our culture is this instant gratification, right? That we see, but it's combined and juxtaposed, if you will. I'm using big words that I don't even know what they mean, but we have social media, right? And they say that you know comparison's the thief of joy. But when you have when people are on their screen for 5 to 8 hours a day, all they're doing is comparing, right? So it's tough, right? Like we live a simple life, me and my family. We don't have a fancy house or fancy cars. You know, um, but the reality is you look online. If I see one more person going to that big place with the mouse ears down in Florida, taking the whole dang family for the second time this year, I'm going to lose my mind because it's like, dude, gas is here and where I live in the Midwest, gas is up to like almost $5 a gallon. It's like, so there's a lot of that pressure, right? And so you want to give everything you possibly can to your family. So when you ask the question, is it harder? Is it tougher? Yeah, 100%. But I think the reality is like, it's like you said, take control, but not just take control of your body, take control of your thoughts, right? Like the reality is my wife loves me and my kids respect me, and that's really what I need, right? And that's it. I don't need one vacation a year to the bunny ear place or the mouse ear place. I just need to be grateful and live in a gratitude place where I'm thankful for what I have right now. And I think that's another big, puzzle piece in this, natural health that we're talking about, right?
And what you consider to be amazingly normal, which is a great relationship,
Mm-hmm.
love and respect from the kids and the family, is something that a lot of people never achieved because they let all the other things, all the chatter and all the comparisons and all the stuff get in the way.
Yeah.
And this is what they really probably need, is that foundation. And they don't have a foundation. They have no grounding. And
Mm.
I have wonderful friends who I love and adore, people in my life. I treat everybody in my life fantastic. I love everybody in my life. But I have some of them that have just been chasing these dreams for so long, and they're so successful and they achieve it, but it's not enough. They have to go to the next one. And it's just, how many layers up do you have to go until you say, enough, let me just enjoy all the things
Yeah.
I've done. But there's 4 or 5 good friends of mine that have never taken the time to have a family. Not that that's important, or even a
Right.
solid relationship, which also not important, but wonderfully
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable. But it's all about the game and the chase and another level of the tax bracket.
Yeah.
And
True.
I laugh and I'm just like, that's okay, it's cool. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know how you could be happy with just, dogs and horses and doing what you do and traveling and doing the pot. And I said, how could I not be happy with this?
Oh,
I said, but
that's
we're all
great, man. I
different.
love that.
We're
I
all
love that.
different.
I like don't get me wrong. Listen, I will. Every day's different. Some days I do want all that stuff. Some days
Well,
I
of
do want
course.
to go. But the reality is like you said, finding that grounding, having that foundation, I think is really important. And listen, like I'm nobody, right? Like my life has struggles, right? It's not perfect. I'm not like, not every day. I mean, yeah, my wife loves me, my kids respect me, but it does not, we get in arguments. It ain't easy all the time. But, you know, I think you really kind of nail things, is like, what are we pursuing? What are we chasing after in this life? And some people, you know, find out a little bit later in life that, there's always going to be another tax bracket, if you will, or
Oh,
there's
yeah.
always going to be another promotion. And again, nothing's wrong with that. I love success. I really
I do
do. I
too.
have a competitive nature inside of me that sometimes I need to quell. But just kind of finding that balance between it all, I think, is
And
important for me.
and it's important. That's it. It's important. And when you do find your solid foundation, I tell people, hold on tight. Because things can slip away very, very easily. And if you have this beautiful garden that's around you and you're loving it every day, your family, and you're putting things into it, you're watering the plants, you're watering the family, you're fertilizing, and everything is fantastic and everything's growing beautifully. If you deviate from that and you stop giving the focus to something that everybody in the world would love to be able to have, and you decide to start searching out for so much other stuff, that garden dies. It loses its focus, and we're all works in progress, and our relationships, no matter how good they are still a work in progress. You still have to add to it and be able to stoke the fire and be able to be courteous and kind and respectful and do surprises and all those wonderful things, because it's that important. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your own personal happiness, your own personal health, and the health of those and the happiness of those around you. Everything else is just chatter.
So I think you nail it when you say like it's a constant, like with your garden. But the thing is, like human beings are like the most they have the most variables, right? Like plants, we kind of get them, right? Like they come with tags and they're like, hey, put this one in the afternoon shade, put this one in bright shade, don't put this near the sun whatsoever, right? Humans are different. I'm different every day, right? Yesterday I was on top of the world, and then today, you never know, right? Something happens, and all of a sudden, it's like, take me out of the sun and put me in the basement. Like I think that's the thing, right? Is like finding the way to be able to pour into these parts of your life that have such massive variables. And I think grace is really the secret ingredient, right? Because I'm messed up, and Jeff, you're messed up. But the fact that if we can both be like, hey man, I'm messed up, you're messed up, we're messed up, let's lower expectations, let's be high grace, and we're going to get through just fine.
To your point, pulling yourself out of the sun and putting yourself in the shade and all that, that's the action. Important. The bigger action is knowing that you have to pull yourself out of there and move yourself over. It's the knowing when a change is necessary at that time. It's like you take a step back and you're like, all right, I've messed things up here. I'm going in the wrong direction. I need to pull myself back, collect myself. That is the priceless part of it, knowing that you need to make the change itself. The change is fine to make. It's important. The knowing that a change is necessary is the priceless part.
Amen to that.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of work. And, people say to me all the time, they say, how does it feel to be doing this for such a long time and have all the answers? And I'm like, excuse me? I said, I am constantly tripping over myself. I said, I have to stay on things because things change so fast. I was literally going to do a lecture at a big hospital in Los Angeles, all doctors. And it's so funny because 40 years ago, they didn't want to talk to me. Now they want me. So on the way there, a study broke. And the study broke and changed the way they looked at everything that the topic was about. So that night, I had to completely change my presentation because of this new documented hospital published trial that just came out that threw everything else in the garbage, and it was new. So when I walked on that stage and I pulled up the PowerPoint, everybody was just amazed because I already knew what they had just been hearing about because I kept myself tuned in. Everything I learned a long time ago to write in pencil, because when you write in pen, you're perpetually scratching things out. But at least if you're in pencil, you're ready for changes and for things that happen along the way. So had I not listened and been tuned in, I would have been giving them a presentation on something that didn't even apply anymore, but it applied 2 days before that. So what I'm saying is, you have to be ready for change and you have to be adaptable, and not everybody does change well.
That's like a great metaphor for life, right? Plan and pencil, care and pen.
There you go.
Plan and pencil, love and pen.
Well, I'm the first one to write everything down, but then like a minute later, they're like, you know what? Let's change that, and I'm like, scratch it out, and I'm just like, no, we're not doing this. I'm writing in pencil, because I remember when I was young and they had ink pens that came with erasers on them, and they never worked. They just ripped the page. I write everything, and I literally write every single thing right now. Let me pull it out. I use pencils for everything. So I'm a pencil person. So let me ask you a question.
I'm a pen person. I'm like, listen, I'm committing, and I'm moving on. But I got to change.
You're ballsy. You're putting it out there. I can't do it because I know it. No, I got too many. Let me ask you a question. Do you like being on the road in the industry? Do you like traveling, or do you like working from home, or going to a company and going to like an office?
It's so funny that you mentioned this. So I honestly prefer to be on the road but like a 50-50 is really, my world. You, Mr. International Man of Mystery, you can go anywhere all the time, whenever. I
I
can't do
know.
that. But like having the home office, it has so many benefits. I'm lucky enough. My wife is on the other side often when she is up here, so we get to hang out all day. But
That's nice.
I was meant to move. I was meant to like experience. So I do like right now. My job is work from home, and I work from my home office for the most part. I do miss being out there on the road and seeing the faces.
I love it. I just thank
Yeah.
God I have a support system where I have people in place to take care of the dogs. We have people in place to take
Mm,
care of the horses. So that's
yeah.
off my mind. So I don't have to worry about that. But I mean, I'll go on the road and I'll be on the road for 4 to 15 days. So I'm gone. So I might go on a trip,
Yeah.
come home for a couple, leave again, and the month is over.
Hmm.
And I've been on the road
Yeah.
3 weeks. I mean, I'm good. I'm better. I'm good with Zooms and all that kind of stuff. I love it. I
Yeah.
love, for a virtual training is fun. But I'm at my best when I'm in front of an audience or I'm in front of a group. That's where I seem to excel, and I think I do my best. And I think I'm the most ultimately effective that way.
Hmm.
But like I said, today we have to do what works with society, and if
Yeah.
some of that is virtual, so be it.
It is. It's ever since 2020, right? This has been part of our lives now. And before that, it was rare. Like to get people on this, or like get out, like leave me alone, come into my store. Like what do you mean Zoom? And like Skype. Remember Skype? That doesn't even exist
God,
anymore because it didn't make it to 2020. If it did, you
no.
know. But yeah, it's wild. Like I got a question for you.
Okay.
So this was a question I was asked the other day. You are a preparer, an organized. So do you wing it?
No.
You don't.
My problem is I am a combination of OCD, ADD,
Oh
XYZ, and
yeah.
1, 2, 3. So my problem is I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
And one of the people that we talk about that we shouldn't be, the ones that get in our head and can't find the door to get out.
Uh-huh.
That's who I am. I'm an overthinker.
Okay.
But the problem is I have so much passion mixed in with it that the obsession becomes more about not about me, but about what I'm doing and the people I'm doing it for. So it's a
There you
very
go.
productive focus
Yeah.
of literal idiocy and mental issues, of course. But I'm doing it for the right reasons. Is it healthy? No. Um, am I someone who could wing it? I don't know if I could.
I
You know.
I asked because again this question was asked to me the other day. So, obviously when I was in stores and doing education and all that kind of stuff, when we'd have the big, you know, dinners or whatnot, yes, I prepared, right? But I would walk into a store and be like, let's wing it. Let's see what we can do today, and grabbing different, employees and just doing different trainings and watching how they like watching them while they were in the store, and then be like, hey, we're gonna take this approach to the way you're approaching my product, and uh, I do miss that because where I'm at now, working from home and getting on these important meetings, you definitely have to be very prepared. And I do it, but man, I miss those spontaneous, you know, conversations.
I don't
You
call
know,
that winging it. I call that
no,
flexibility of training. And to your point,
Sweet.
in that direction, yes. Like if I'm going to
Yeah.
a store with a broker and they say we're going to be doing a full staff training, and then they get a phone call and they say we're going to be doing just a table training with 3 employees, and then they'll get another call because they had call outs and they go, we're just going to do an aisle training today. Now that's not
Yeah.
winging it. That's just doing what I'm doing, scaling it down to fit into the mold. I
Yeah.
consider winging it, walking in and just flailing, and doing. I mean, that's not it. This is what you're
Yeah.
doing is not winging it. That's doing constructive that fits the mold for that individual store for that individual staff, and that's a quality talent. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody
Well,
can
then
be that
that's what I'm going to
flexible.
say next time when they're like, "Hey, do you wing it?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I am constructively flexible."
My grandmother used to tell me, she goes, you need to live your life like a tree. And I'm like, all right, Nana, what do you got? My grandmother was an herbalist, so she taught me very young. And I said, why
Hmm.
a tree? She goes, there's 2 kinds of trees. She goes, there's the oak tree, majestic, strong, makes beautiful furniture, and very, very solid, but very, very brittle. In a very windy storm, the branches break and they fall apart because the tree is so solid, it doesn't know how to bend. I said, well, what kind of tree should I be? And she goes, a willow tree. She goes, willow trees can sway in the wind. They're strong. They have a great root system, but they're also flexible to move in every direction during the breeze. And I said, so what's the point? She goes, be flexible. Don't be so rigid, Jeffrey. And that's what I used to get from her. But I'll tell you what, it makes sense.
It makes so much sense, man. Dolly Parton has some sort of song about that, I think, about being a tree in a storm. What does she say? I might even be her. I might be quoting the wrong person. I'm going to give you bad comments. People are going to comment on this and be like, that Johnsie guy doesn't know anything.
Who is that dude?
But something like wicked storms create deep roots or something like that.
Okay, we'll run with that. That sounds good. So, but you know, I love our, I love our industry, and I like that we can have fun doing what we do. I mean, one of my favorite things, of course, is going to like conventions and stuff like that, and you know, seeing people. What's funny is people move around a lot in the industry.
Right.
I get comical. I walk up and I see where their logo is to see what company they're with now, because they hop around a lot. You know, and then
I'm one of those guys.
And then there's the people that just kind of stay with it. They're dusting the dust off. They've had that same logo for 30 years, you know? So I love that I've been able to be blessed with amazing people. And, you know, I started out in the industry with Dr. Earl Mindell and Dr. Atkins. They were my first mentors. And since then I've worked with the best people that you can work with and amazing peers in the industry. And I'm trying to get as many as I can to come on and chat with me because, you know, I want to show the versatility and the talent and the passion of our industry and the people that are in it, because I think we have so much to offer.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about like the natural health supplement and whatever you want to call it, right? Health food store industry, natural health industry. I think the reality is it's like this industry, and you can be from anywhere, you know, culturally, but it's almost like we're forced to get along, right? Because really we have the same end goal, right? I mean, and I think that's I'm thankful, and not by my own doing, you know, by another rep who put me in my place early in my career, like put me in my place, and I deserved it. But the reality is, you know, we have the same goal, right? And that is to help people get healthy or enhance their health or feel normal, right?
You know, and the thing I've learned about this industry, and I think it applies to other industries as well, is be nice to everybody. Don't burn a bridge.
That goes with that,
Don't burn a bridge, because I'm telling you, in this industry, if you burn a bridge, you may be working with that bridge again in another aspect in another company, and this bridge may be sitting in the bigger office above you. So be gentle, be kind,
good point.
Understand the differences. If you have a problem, talk it out. You know what I mean? And work it out. And if it's not a fit, move on. That's fine. But, you know, I think that we do have a lot of that general respect in this industry. And, you know, the more people that I get to know and the more visible I get, the more people that come out that I get to know even more people. I love it. You know, I can't imagine doing it. Everybody my age is retiring. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I would go insane. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Oh, God. There's no way.
I don't see you doing that. I don't see you retiring.
I told him when I die, just stuff me and take me to Expo West and put flyers in my hand to hand out. Because I just went to my 43rd Expo West, and you know, there's only been 45, and 2 of them were closed for the pandemic. So, I mean, I'm going to go I'm part of that, so I got to.
Yeah, it's like you know, get cream in it and like take your ashes and put them in like some of those necklaces you're wearing, and everybody will wear the Dr. Jeffrey Burke necklace, and you'll just forever be going to Expo, go forever, you know.
No, they'd be like, I don't want to wear that. It's going to make me want to work until I'm 90. So,
and just, I know you talk about it a lot on here, but like, you know, for people who don't know, like Expo West is the biggest natural health convention in our industry. I mean, it's massive. I mean, I think there was one year where there was like 100,000 people before the pandemic, but you know, it's awesome, but it's crazy, right? It's wild. Like you go from one end and there's machines, right? Manufacturing machines. And then you go to the other end and there's like, well, I mean, you were there this year. There was a lot of crazy stuff. I can't even probably say it on your podcast.
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. But I'll tell you, somebody asked me the other day, they go, what was the first Expo West like in 1981? And I said, okay, imagine it. I feel like Sophia on Golden Girls. Sicily, 1981. It was a bunch of 3x5 tables. Everybody had on tie-dye shirts. They were
Nice.
saging. There was lava
Nice.
lamps. Everybody smelled like patchouli. And they were all
Sweet.
drinking wheatgrass and stretching and doing yoga. So we've come a long way.
Well, I guess. I mean, I would go right back to that, right?
That's what they said. They said, take me back to that, back to Woodstock.
Seriously.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
would definitely. I mean, the sad thing about that is I wasn't even born yet. I had another year before I was born.
Okay,
So,
let's not go there. Okay, then.
you've been going to Expo West longer than I've been alive, my friend.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's
Yeah,
so funny.
no, I'm gonna be 67 this year. It's just I don't even know where
God
the years
bless you,
went.
man.
Don't even
Keep
know where the
going.
years went. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep going. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
first of all, thank you
So-
for being here today. An absolute pleasure. But here's my question
thank you.
for you. Oh, first two questions. Will you come back and see me again?
If I don't shut this thing down because of this conversation, then yeah, I will come back. Yeah. If people don't boo you because of me, yeah, and you still want me, I'll be back in a heartbeat.
I think you're safe. Second question. If you were to leave the planet today, what would you want to be remembered for?
I think if I were to leave the world today, I would want to be remembered as an encourager. Period. End of story. I would want people to be like, you know what, Johnsie was always rooting for me, and that's all I really want to hear about. Just people to be like, that dude, he's got your back, right? I was at a convention, and this was not a health food convention, but I was at a convention the other day, and or last month in April. And one of the speakers said, hey, you know you're really good friends because you're really good friends. When you're not in the room, they are raving about you. Somebody says something about Dr. Jeffrey Burke. You say, that man is one of the smartest men I know, kindest men I know. That dude is an awesome podcast host. He's an awesome educator. But in person, your best friends would be like, dude, oh my gosh, put it in, nice necklace, why don't you grow some hair and say stuff like that. So that's what's really, I want to be that guy in people's life. I want to be somebody who said, Johnsie would always root for me when nobody else would. But to my face, he would tell me the truth. And I think that's what we all need to be doing.
I love that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have today. Johnsie Mays, my guest. I hope that you take the time to tune into the full podcast, share it with your friends as well. Remember, you can listen to my podcast on any platform. Of course, I'd love for you to go to the YouTube channel because there you can actually watch the interaction. Of course, the interaction is just as good as the actual verbiage coming out, because now I get to see my guests, which is so much more fun. Radio for 40 years, I never got to see anybody. I was talking to a microphone. But this is so much more fun, and I think that it adds to the credibility and also the passion of the podcast. So make sure you go to YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Subscribing gives visibility to my guests, and I think that's important. Johnsie, thank you for being here today. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great day. Go out there, do something great, but do something good for you, too.
Stay tuned for more information from the Honest Health Podcast with Jeffrey Burke. And make sure to check back often for interviews and conversations from the guests we all want to hear from. I'm John the Announcer. Thanks for listening.